Hello, it's Elaine from Penguin Place Crafts. It's the day after a craft show, and I'm here with the recap. Okay, the morning started out with a comedy of errors. Part of it was my own fault. I got up and got my morning kombucha and got the coffee started and was sipping my kombucha, as I always do, playing games on my tablet, and I let time get away from me and I played games too long and I was running late. I ended up leaving about 15 minutes later than I had planned. Back out of the garage, hit the button to close the garage door, and I'm okay, gotta put on my sunglasses and do this. Wait a minute, garage door isn't closed. So I hit the button again. I watched it this time. It got down to about 6 inches above the floor. So I went in, got my husband, and I said I tried twice to close the garage door. It gets down to a certain point, and the sensors make it go back up again. Maybe it's because there are leaves stuck to cobwebs sort of hanging down. Maybe those leaves hang down and interrupt the sensors. So he got a broom and he swept the leaves off. He tried again and went back up again. I think we tried 2 or 3 times while he was out in the garage, and every time it popped back up again. And I was finally like, it's all yours. You figure it out. I'm going to my show. Well, then I was going along, and I've got the brains going a little faster. My mind wasn't totally on the road, and I almost missed the turn into the driveway for the school. I had to make a very sharp turn at a speed higher than I would like to, and there were wet leaves, and my anti-lock brakes kicked in, but I made it. It got there. Pay attention. I'm just distracted. I got in. I got all set up. I had a bag of peanut butter M&Ms that were given to me. And I told my friend Joanna, okay, I'm prepared for anything. I am prepared to drown my sorrows if sales don't go well, and I am prepared to celebrate if they do go well. Well, I think around 10:30, after the show started, the show had been going for like half an hour, and I still didn't have a sale. I think I did bring out a handful to drown my sorrows, peanut butter M&Ms, because other people were getting sales. Joanna was getting sales with her earrings. The lady on the other side, actually, Joanna was on this. The lady on the other side selling painted rocks and painted records, she was making sales. People were buying these painted records like crazy. She did have a lot of copyrighted stuff. Paintings of Disney characters on the rocks and on the records, and people like that. They're getting all these sales. I wasn't getting any sales. So I consoled myself, and a few minutes later, I got my first sale for $3. 2 of those little balls that I crochet out of scrap yarn. Okay, it's a sale. Then a few minutes after that, I got another sale. Okay, well, I'm not going to go into those. I'm going through the events of the day first. Around lunchtime, this is the one sale where we know that we have an electrical outlet. So I have this mini crock pot that Joanna gave me. It'll take about 2 cups of something. So I put some leftovers in there. Oops, can't be bouncing the table. Put some leftovers in there, and I heated those up, and around lunchtime, I'm having my lunch there. This lady stops by like, what are you eating? Tomato pie? She goes, I have never heard a tomato pie, but that smells so good. How did you make it? So I'm standing there for like 5 minutes trying to remember the recipe, to give her the recipe. What I should have done was said, give me your email. I will email you the recipe once I get home because it's on the computer. I have a Google Drive with all my recipes saved. So if one of my daughters is like, hey, Mom, can I have the recipe for such and such? You got it. Okay. So I was giving out recipes. No, one recipe at the craft show. Then another high point was my friend Joanna, who was right next to me. Her grandson came in with his aunt and uncle to visit. And, seeing familiar faces, that was fun. But there was a lady walking around with a little dog, a Shih Tzu. And Joanna's grandson saw him and was like, oh, look at the dog. Now, his aunt and uncle, who live right next door to him, have two adorable little Bichons. And he loves those dogs. And this was similar. So he asked the lady, can I pet your dog? And she's, oh, yes, she's very friendly. That dog was just jumping all over him, just licking his face, licking his hands, just licking, like the dog went nuts over him. And it was just such fun to watch. He was loving every minute of it. The dog was, they were both having a great time. That was fun to watch. And then I had a young fellow who was a repeat customer stop by. His name is Wyatt, and he has stopped two of the local school shows. He just stands in front of my table and just acts like he's in awe. Just, oh, Mom, look at that. Oh, Mom, look at that. Oh, Mom, look at that. Sometimes Mom gets him something. Sometimes she'll tell him, you need to wait for the next show. Mom did buy a couple of items, a gift for someone else, but Wyatt didn't get anything. But Wyatt's dad was looking at something. He's like, I got her Etsy shop. We can look at her shop. And I mentioned that I do videos. What's your name? What's your name there? I told him. Did you get that, Dad? Did you get that? So I don't know if Wyatt's going to see this, but if he did, hi, buddy. Congratulations on making it into the choir. Let's see. So I got my last sale of the day at 1:33. The show went till 3. So I sat there for an hour and a half with no customers. I got a lot done on a project. I'll show you that in a minute. Then I actually went shopping afterwards because I figured, okay, I'm about 10 miles from home. If I go another mile down the road, there's a plaza that has a Dollar Tree. I'm looking for slap bracelets and bendy curlers for projects. I went to that Dollar Tree. They didn't have them. I was strong. I went past the Goodwill. There was a Goodwill between the Dollar Tree and the grocery store. I did not go into Goodwill. But then I went down to the grocery store and I got, we're out of milk, we're out of butter, we got so many things we were out of. Got the groceries, put them in the cart. And then continued my way home, and there's a Dollar General. Okay, let's go check them out, see if they have slap bracelets or bendy curlers. Ended up getting groceries there too, but bendy curlers. These are to try a project. My friend Strawberry Bonnie just put up a tutorial on how to make a little crocheted worm, and you crochet around one of these thingies and your worm will bend. You can pose the worm. So I could just picture having, I would probably see if I can cut these in half and do, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 12. There's 12. Just look at the tag. There's 12. So if I had, a dozen little worms at my next show, the fact that they bend, that might be something. There we go. So I went shopping, even though I was beat. Got home. It's like, okay, here's the acid test. Will the garage door open for me? Or did my husband have to put it in manual mode? But if he had put it in manual mode, I figured he would have reverted it to regular automatic mode. Will it close? Yes, it did. It opened, closed for me just fine. My husband said he cleaned everything up and cleaned up the sensors. Still wasn't working, so he unplugged it for 15 seconds and plugged it back in, and it worked. So I came home and I finished a project. I had been working on a Stegosaurus from the pattern from the Temu kit all day, and I had the pieces done. I just had to sew them together, and now he is sewn together. I thought this would be the perfect type of dinosaur to have for my show on Saturday, because there's this different layout. Behind my table, I have all these little cubby holes, and I need stuff to be less than 8 inches tall, because if it's like over 8 inches tall, it doesn't fit in there nicely. But this is the type of thing I can put right in one of those cubby holes, and he just might sell on Saturday. I have a show on Saturday. Okay, so how did this one do? The good news is I sold 19 items. The bad news is 12 of those 19 items were $5 or under. Yeah. Another 4 of those 19 items were between $6 and $10. I sold one item at $12, one item at $20, one at $25. So it was a low price point show. It was the 9th time that I've done this show at that school for the fall. This came in 2nd place of those 9 shows. This was my 12th show for 2024. It came in 9th place out of 12. So there have been 2 shows that did worse. It was average. It was 50 out of 138, I think. Where's that line? 51 out of 138 of my shows overall. So, average. I told you I sold 2 of those little balls that I make. I sold 2 emotional support pickles. The emotional support pickles got a lot of attention, but I only sold 2 of the 6 that I had with me. I sold one of my coffee cups. I sold 1 emotional support chicken, like a chicken that I made and I had in the bag with the tag that says emotional support chicken. Sold one of those. The chicken was $12, the bag was $6. So $18 for that sale. But I had it broken down with the individual components in my tallies here. A few weeks ago, I made Moo the Giraffe, where I doubled up the skinny yarn from my Temu kits. Sold that one. There was a mom who had a little boy in her arms, and she was looking at the other giraffe in that style. I call it Pippi because it has pink and white striped stockings. And she was, oh, how much is this? And I said, I have another one. And I dug under the table and found it, and I showed her Moo. And she goes, I want that one. She goes, that's got embroidered eyes. She goes, I don't know. This guy can't be trusted with safety eyes. Yep. So I'll have to make up another giraffe like that with safety, with embroidered eyes. So I have the choice there. Okay, I also sold a hippo that I made from the no-sew pattern on Instagram, but I made it with Burnett blanket yarn, so it was big. It sold for $20. I sold 2 little cats that I made from various patterns that were in my $5 bin. There was a teacher who came along who wanted she has a special needs class with 7 students, and she didn't want to give them candy. She wanted to give them something little. And she bought 7 of my mini Octos for $4 each. And then at 1:33, I sold 1 of the 13 candy corn that I had. I sold the one without a face. So I sort of expected that the show would be average. The fact that it beat almost all of the other times I have been at the show, that's good. I think I did fairly well for this audience. There's just something, people stopped and were looking at stuff. Like somebody stopped and picked up was going through my scrubbies, $3 each or 2 for $5. And she was just going nuts over, oh, look at these. These are adorable. Oh, look at these. And she put them back, didn't buy them. So there's something about closing at that. People like looking, but I don't know. It's just they don't follow through and buy stuff. So I am going to try to restock my mini Octos. I've got to rebag inventory to take down to this next show. So like I said, it's a different setup. I need to redo things so that I have more of the items that will fit in those cubby holes. So I want to make the most of the display space that I've got. So that's it. I will link patterns for the stuff that I mentioned. Although some of the stuff I freehanded. I freehand my chickens, I freehand the bags, I freehanded those little balls, I freehand my pickles. There are a few items here where there's actually a pattern. I will link those. The candy corn, I used a pattern. And I think I just, my micro Octos, I think I just put that pattern up on my blog. So, and I started one. I started a micro Octo in that purple last night. So I'm restocking for this week's show. Okay, time to go make dinner. So I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll talk about stuff that I'm doing to finish up October with a bang and to get ready for the first November show. So, nope, got to do a right-handed wave. Bye-bye.